The call came in at 2:17 a.m., 1 minute after the dispatcher's night shift was supposed to end. The line was open, but no one spoke. "1, what's your emergency?" Claire repeated, her voice steady, practiced. Static answered her, a low hum that rose and fell like breathing. Then faintly a whisper, "He's in the walls." Claire straightened. "Sir, ma'am, are you in danger?" Silence. The line hissed softly. Then the whisper again, closer this time, urgent. "He's in the walls." "He knows you're listening." She glanced at the monitor. "Caller ID unknown. No location ping. No coordinates. Just the open channel. Steady, impossible." Claire signaled her supervisor, but when he lifted his headset, the call ended. She exhaled, heart pounding. Probably a prank, she told herself. Happens all the time. Then the line clicked again. Same timestamp, same unknown number. This time it wasn't a whisper. It was her own voice. "He's in the walls, Claire." The headset slipped from her hand, clattering against the console. Behind her, the dispatcher room was silent, every monitor frozen on 2:17 a.m. For the rest of the night, Claire couldn't stop watching the clock. 2:17 a.m. The numbers burned on the digital screen, mocking her. Every few seconds, her gaze drifted back to the silent headset resting on her desk. The other dispatchers carried on as usual, voices low, keyboards clattering, fluorescent lights humming above them like flies trapped in glass. But to her, everything felt wrong. She replayed the call in her head. The whisper, her own voice echoing back, the way the static seemed to breathe. She told herself it had to be interference, maybe a loop, maybe her system glitched. Yet when she pulled up the call log, there was nothing. No entry, no number, no trace. Her supervisor, Brent, leaned against the divider. "You good?" Claire nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just tired." Brent smiled the way people do when they don't believe you. "Go home, I'll finish your logouts." She hesitated. The call still lingered, faintly audible in her head, like an echo stuck between thoughts. "He's in the walls, Claire." That voice wasn't hers. Not exactly. It had the right tone, the right rhythm, but there was something hollow about it, like hearing yourself through someone else's mouth. By the time she reached her car, the rain had started, soft and cold, tapping on the windshield like impatient fingers. The parking lot was empty except for the night shift units idling near the exit. Their headlights flickered against the wet pavement, cutting through the fog that rolled low and heavy. Claire sat for a while before starting the engine. Dispatchers weren't supposed to get spooked easily. You heard everything in that job. Screams, accidents, suicides, people begging for help as the line went dead. But this call wasn't like that. There was no panic, no location, no human sound at all, just that whisper. And her name. When she finally drove home, the city felt abandoned. Stoplights blinked on empty streets. Storefronts were dark except for the occasional flicker of a security monitor. Even her wipers made no rhythm she could follow. They just dragged, hesitated, dragged again, like something resisting. At 2:47, her dashboard clock froze. She tapped it. Nothing. The radio hissed with static, the same low hum she'd heard earlier. "He knows you're listening." She slammed the power button, heart hammering. The noise cut off instantly, leaving only her own breath in the cabin. By morning, she convinced herself it was exhaustion. She hadn't taken a day off in weeks. The department had been short-staffed since spring, half the crew either transferred or burned out. Calls blurred together, nights bled into mornings. It was easy to imagine things when your brain hadn't reset. At her desk the next evening, everything seemed normal again. The same muted chatter, the same cold air from the vents above, the faint smell of disinfectant and burnt coffee. "Busy night ahead," Brent said, dropping a folder beside her. "Storm's picking up. Lines will be jammed." She nodded. "Got it." Then she noticed something. A faint scratching sound in her earpiece, like movement just beyond the channel. She pulled the headset off and stared at it. The sound stopped. "Audio issue?" Brent asked. "Maybe." She plugged the headset back in. Silence. The night went on in routine monotony. Lost pets, drunk fights, a power outage downtown. Every so often she glanced at the digital clock. 10:58 p.m., 11:32, 12:04. Everything tracked perfectly. No glitches, no strange voices, until 2:17 a.m. Her monitor flickered. A single pulse, barely a second long. Then a new line appeared on her dashboard. "Incoming call." Unknown. Claire's throat went dry. She hovered over the accept button, her hand trembling. "Claire?" Brent's voice behind her. "You good?" She nodded slowly and clicked. "1. What's your static?" A faint hum. Then through the distortion, something that made her blood run cold. "You should have hung up sooner." Her breath caught. "Who is this?" No answer. Just the soft crackle of the line, and behind it, faint scratching, like fingernails inside drywall. Brent came over, frowning. "Is it another crank?" She pulled off her headset, whispering, "It knows my name." He took the receiver, pressed it to his ear, then froze. "What is it?" she asked. He didn't answer. His face had gone pale. After a few seconds, he set the headset down carefully, like it was something alive. "There's nothing," he said. "Just noise." But Claire could still hear it, even without the headset. The faint hiss of static. The sound of breathing, slow and deliberate. And underneath it all, a whisper she could barely make out, repeating over and over, "He's still in the walls." The next morning, the system log showed no incoming call at 2:17 a.m. No recording, no number. Yet when the cleaning staff entered the dispatch room before sunrise, they found every digital clock frozen, each one reading the exact same time. 2:17. For 3 nights, Claire didn't sleep. Not because she couldn't, but because every time she closed her eyes, she saw the console lights flickering, heard that voice whisper her name through static. She'd jolt awake to the same sound, faint scratching inside her apartment wall. At first, she told herself it was mice. Old wiring, water pipes, anything normal. But by the 4th night, she realized the sound moved. It followed her. When she sat on the couch, the sound came from behind it. When she moved to her bed, it shifted to the wall beside her. That same slow, deliberate scraping. Like something searching, she showed up at work, pale and hollow-eyed. Brent noticed immediately. "You look like hell," he said. "Didn't sleep. You need time off." Claire shook her head. "I can't. I need to know if it happens again." Brent frowned. "If what happens again?" She hesitated. There was no way to explain without sounding insane. "The call," he sighed. "Claire, we checked everything." "No log, no trace, no malfunction." "Maybe it was feedback, or it said my name, Brent." He stopped. Something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, maybe even fear. But he hid it behind a forced calm. "Just take it easy, all right?" She knew that tone. The one they used on panicked callers. The one that meant, "You're not making sense, but I'll pretend you are." That night, the calls were steady. Flood warnings, a missing kid, a car crash on Route 8, normal chaos. But something about the lines felt different. The static lingered between conversations, like a presence waiting for silence. At 1:54 a.m., a rookie dispatcher 2 desks over muttered, "Weird. Line 4's flickering again." Claire looked up. The indicator pulsed once, dim red. Line 4 was her channel. She swallowed hard. "Don't answer it." "Why not?" "It's not real." The rookie laughed nervously. "What do you mean, not?" The call auto-connected. Every screen in the room blinked. All at once, the clocks froze. 2:17 a.m. The rookie's face drained of color. Claire?" The voice came through the speaker. Faint, distorted, almost tender. He's closer now. The rookie tore off his headset. "What the hell was that?" But Claire was already on her feet, heart slamming. She stared at the wall beside her console, the one where the sound had first come from. The drywall bulged slightly, as if the building itself were breathing. Brent stormed over. "Everyone calm down!" "It's happening again," Claire said. He pointed at her console. "End the call." "I can't. It won't hang up." He leaned in, grabbed her mouse, but the cursor wouldn't move. The system had frozen, still displaying call duration. No time passed. No sound except the soft hiss, and then a low voice, unmistakably human. "Do you remember the first one?" Claire froze. "The first what?" "The first call you ignored." Her breath caught. She hadn't told anyone. Not about that one. It was a winter night 3 years ago. She'd just started dispatching. A woman's voice had called, whispering that someone was trying to break in. But the line was faint. Maybe a prank, maybe a bad signal. And there were 3 other emergencies waiting. Claire hesitated, logged it as an incomplete call. When the police finally traced it the next morning, they found the woman dead, strangled beside a cordless phone. For weeks, Claire couldn't stop hearing her last words. "Please don't hang up." She'd buried it, learned to move on. Until now, Brent was shouting, trying to reboot the system. Power down the server! The rookie pulled cables, sparks flying. The room went dark, total blackout. And in that darkness, the voice whispered, close enough to feel the breath. She asked for help. You hung up. Claire stumbled back, trembling. Who are you? You already know. The emergency lights flickered on. The console screens blinked back to life, all displaying the same message in white text. Help me, Claire! The rookie screamed. Brent grabbed his radio, nothing but static. Every line on the switchboard started lighting up one by one. Call incoming, unknown. Call incoming, unknown. Call incoming, unknown. Dozens of lines, all the same time. All 2:17 a.m. Claire put her hands over her ears, whispering, make it stop. The voice changed. Softer. Sad. You can't stop what's already inside. When the power finally stabilized, everything was normal again. Lights steady. Clocks moving. No calls on record. Brent sat slumped at his desk, pale and shaking. Nobody talks about this, he said quietly. Claire stared at him. This has happened before. He hesitated. Once, long before your time. Tell me. He looked around, the other dispatchers avoiding eye contact, pretending to work. Back in 2004, a night operator reported hearing voices through the static. Same thing, no trace, no timestamp. She claimed they said her name. A week later, she quit. Quit? Brent's jaw tightened. They found her in her apartment. Phone off the hook. Clock frozen at 2:17. The room fell silent except for the low hum of electronics. Claire couldn't leave it alone. After her shift, she drove to the archives. Old case logs, paper records, voice transcripts. She found the report. Operator number 12, Lydia March. Cause of death, undetermined cardiac arrest. But attached to the file was a handwritten note in red ink. He speaks through the static. Don't listen too long. There were more. 4 other operators over the years, all gone. Same time of death. Same unexplained anomalies. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She froze, watching it vibrate in her palm. The timestamp, 2:17 a.m., she let it ring. Then silence. When she checked the recent calls, the number wasn't there. Over the next days, the voices followed her everywhere. Not constant, just in the quiet moments. In the hum of her refrigerator, the white noise between songs, the static when she brushed her hair too close to the radio. At first it whispered nonsense. Then it whispered her thoughts. You're afraid they'll think you're crazy. You shouldn't have ignored her. He's almost through. She unplugged everything in her apartment. Still at night she heard scratching. The drywall pulsed faintly in the dark. Something behind it shifting, breathing. She ripped at the plaster once, desperate to prove it was her imagination. Beneath the wall she found insulation and wires. Dozens of cut phone lines, tangled and old. All of them ended in severed receivers. At work, she confided in one of the older dispatchers, May, a quiet woman who'd been there since the 90s. May listened without interruption, then whispered, Don't ever answer an unlisted call at 2:17. Claire frowned. You believe me? May nodded slowly. You think you're the first? You're just the latest one he's chosen. He, the one who listens back. May's eyes looked distant, haunted. He's not a ghost. He's the signal itself, a voice that feeds on the ones who hear him too long. Dispatchers, operators, radio hosts, anyone who lives between voices. Claire whispered, Then what does he want? May's voice trembled. He wants you to stay on the line. That night, Claire couldn't resist. She stayed after hours, staring at the console. 1:48, 1:59, 2:10. At 2:17, every line blinked red. One by one, the consoles around her activated, empty stations coming alive. Static filled the room. Then voices, hundreds of them, overlapping in panic. Help! He's here. Please don't hang up. You're not listening. The cacophony rose until Claire screamed, and then one voice broke through them all. Calm, familiar. Claire. It's me. Her breath stopped. Brent? No. The voice mimicked him perfectly. Same tone, same inflection. You should have gone home when you could. The screens flickered again, showing her reflection, distorted through the static. Except it wasn't her. The face on the screen smiled when she didn't. When Brent came in the next morning, he found the dispatch room dark. Every console off. Every clock frozen. 2:17 a.m. Claire's station light was still blinking red. Call active. He picked up the headset. Static. Then, faintly, her voice. Don't hang up. When Brent heard Claire's voice through the dead headset, he froze. It wasn't just her tone. It was the breath between words, the strain in her voice. It was live. Brent, don't hang up. He swallowed hard. Claire, where are you? You shouldn't have stayed. The line crackled violently, feedback stabbing through the speakers. The lights in the dispatch room flickered, and for a heartbeat, every monitor flashed the same image, Claire's workstation camera feed. Except Claire wasn't sitting there. She was standing behind her chair, motionless, staring directly into the lens. Brent dropped the headset and stumbled back. Jesus Christ! The lights snapped off. Darkness swallowed the room whole, leaving only the soft red blink of the consoles. One by one, the other phones began to ring. Not with the usual tone, but a low, pulsing hum, as if the sound were coming from inside the walls. Brent's radio crackled. A voice barely audible, line 4. Pick it up, he hesitated. Then, against every instinct, he lifted the receiver. She's waiting for you. Claire's perspective. She woke to the sound of rain and static. For a moment, she thought she was back home, until she saw the rows of glowing consoles stretching out before her. The dispatch center, empty. The clocks were frozen again. 2:17 a.m. Her headset lay on the desk, the cable snaking across the floor like a vein. The screen pulsed faintly, and she could swear the static was breathing. He's here. Her head snapped up. The voice was female, soft, familiar. May, she whispered. You shouldn't have listened. Claire turned toward the dark corridor behind the desks. A faint silhouette stood there, not solid, not quite visible. A shimmer in the air like heat rising from pavement. Who are you? You already know. The figure flickered, and for an instant she saw a woman, headset on, eyes wide, mouth frozen mid-scream. The name badge glinted briefly under the emergency light. Lydia March. Claire stumbled backward, knocking over her chair. You're dead. We all are, once we answer. Lydia's voice came from every speaker, overlapping itself in endless echo. He comes through the signal. The moment you hear him, he learns your name. Claire clutched her head. Why me? Because you listened. She tried to run, but the hallway stretched endlessly, every step taking her nowhere. The walls flickered with static, patterns crawling like electricity under wallpaper. Her reflection appeared in the glass doors ahead, distorted, lagging behind her movements. Don't hang up. Claire. She turned. No one. The console lights behind her flickered faster now, ringing all at once in chaotic rhythm. The sound was deafening. Each tone blended into something like human breathing, slow, heavy, wet. Then the voice came again, deeper this time. Male, calm, close. You left her to die. Claire froze. No, you heard her crying. I didn't know it was real. You always know. The lights above her flared, then shattered, plunging the room into pulsing red. The walls themselves seemed to ripple, bulging outward, hands pressing from within, shapes forming and dissolving beneath the paint. I waited for you. Who are you? You called me. She remembered the night of the ignored call, the woman's breath, the pleading whisper. The phone had buzzed again just before she hung up. She'd said, someone's inside, and now here he was. The wall behind the main console cracked. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The fissure spread like a grin. A shape began pushing through the drywall, not quite human, too long, too thin, skin like radio interference, constantly flickering between presence and absence. It crawled forward, head tilting unnaturally, eyes black and glimmering with static light. Its mouth didn't move when it spoke. You built the line. You kept it open. Claire stumbled back, voice breaking. Stay away. You called me. Her radio flared to life on its own, bursts of voices overlapping, desperate 911 callers from years past. Help, please. He's inside. Can anyone hear me? Then silence. They never hung up, the thing said. Neither will you. Brent burst through the doorway, flashlight beam slicing through the haze. Claire, Jesus, what's... He stopped mid-sentence. His light froze on the creature. It turned toward him, and the beam distorted, flickering like bad reception. Run! Claire screamed, but Brent couldn't move. His radio crackled, and through it came his own voice. Brent, stay on the line. He dropped the flashlight. The creature leaned close to him, its face breaking into shifting pixels, its voice merging with his. "You should have never answered." The radio in his hand melted into static, hissing louder until it burst into sparks. Brent collapsed, eyes open but lifeless. The same expression frozen dispatchers had worn before him. Claire screamed and grabbed the emergency fire axe from the wall. She swung wildly at the creature, the blade slicing through nothing but air. It fractured like static on a screen, then multiplied. Now there were dozens of it, transparent echoes forming a circle around her. Each spoke in her voice, overlapping whispers. "You hung up. You shouldn't have answered. He's in the walls. He's in you." She fell to her knees, clutching her ears, but the sound came from inside her skull. The line never ends. "Claire." She bolted toward the stairwell, the building groaning like something alive. The exit door wouldn't open. Every handle she touched vibrated, low hum, like an electrical current passing straight into her skin. She tried her phone. The screen glitched, displaying random digits before forming words. "Call active, 2:17 a.m. Answer me." The voice wasn't external anymore. It came from inside the phone, inside her head, maybe even through the air around her. She threw the phone. It hit the wall and split open, wires dangling. The voice didn't stop. "You can't hang up." The building's PA system crackled on. Every speaker whispered her name. "Claire. Claire. Claire." The lights dimmed, replaced by the faint glow of the console screens turning on one by one. Each displayed the same phrase, "Stay on the line." She ran back to the dispatch floor, desperate, sobbing. "Okay, you win. What do you want from me?" The voice answered through every headset at once. "I want you to listen." The walls around her began to hum, deep, resonant, like a subwoofer buried in concrete. From the cracks, faint whispers spilled out, the voices of past callers, dispatchers, all blending together. "1, what's your emergency?" "He's coming." "I'm sorry." "Don't hang up." The air thickened. The static became visible, a swirling gray haze pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. "Do you understand now?" She choked out. "You're not real. Then why can you hear me?" She screamed, clutching her head. "Stop, you made me." Every unanswered call, every voice ignored, every cry you couldn't save. The haze shifted shape, taking form, hundreds of faces merging and fading, all speaking through one mouth. "We became the silence between your words." Claire fell to the floor, weeping. "Please, I didn't mean to, but you listened, and that's enough." She crawled toward the main console, grabbing the master circuit switch. "If I cut the power, you die with it. Then you die too. I don't care." She yanked the lever. The lights flared white, blinding. Then everything went black. Silence. For a moment, she thought she'd won. Then she heard it, faint but unmistakable. Claire. Her eyes opened. She was sitting at her console again. The room bright. The hum of fluorescent lights. Everything normal. The clock read 2:18 a.m. Brent walked past her, sipping coffee. "You okay?" She stared at him. "What day is it?" He laughed. "Tuesday." Her hands shook. "What happened to the power outage?" He frowned. "Power outage?" No one seemed to notice anything. The screens glowed steady. The calls came through like nothing had happened. For a brief moment, she almost believed it was a hallucination. Stress, sleep deprivation, a dream. Then her console light blinked. Incoming call, unknown, the timestamp, 2:17 a.m. Her breath caught. "No." Brent's voice behind her. "You gonna answer that?" Her shaking hand hovered over the button. "Claire?" She turned toward him, but Brent wasn't there. "Just an empty chair?" The overhead speaker crackled. "Wevin, what's your emergency?" It was her own voice. Blackout. The dispatch building went dark. Outside, emergency lights flashed as officers arrived. Reports of a power surge, unresponsive personnel. They found the dispatch center empty. Every console off. Every clock frozen at 2:17 a.m. Only one headset remained plugged in, resting neatly on the desk. From it came a faint whisper, looping endlessly. "He's still in the walls." The rain hadn't stopped in 3 days. It hammered against the station windows, drowning the world in a gray hum that made every word feel swallowed before it reached the air. Dispatch had been temporarily relocated. They'd sealed off the old floor, the one where Claire's desk still sat, headset tangled on the console. monitors permanently frozen at 2:17 a.m. Most of the responders refused to go near it. The department said it was a system failure, a freak electrical surge that had corrupted the logs. But no one could explain why every recording from that night, every emergency call, every camera feed, every timestamp, stopped at the exact same second, and none of them could explain the voice. Claire hadn't come back to work. Not officially. Her ID card still hung on the entry board, unclaimed, untouched. The supervisor said she needed time. Counseling, maybe. A break, but every few nights, around 2:17 a.m., someone heard her voice on the line again. 1-1, what's your emergency? Calm, polite, routine. Except the system logs showed no incoming calls. Tom, the night supervisor, was the first to go back upstairs. He told himself it was just to retrieve some personal files. But deep down, he wanted to see the room again, to prove that the story had been twisted by fear and gossip. He found it exactly as they'd left it. Desks under plastic sheets, chairs overturned. A single red light blinking faintly from Claire's console. Her headset was still plugged in. Her last note, scrawled in pen on the corner of a call log, read only 3 words. He's in here. Tom stared at it for a long time. Then he laughed quietly, to nobody. This is ridiculous, he muttered. He pulled off the sheet, sat down, and reached for the headset. The moment the plastic touched his ear, the room felt too still. No rain, no hum, just the faint sound of breathing, deep, slow, close. Tom, his chest locked. He froze. It was Claire's voice. Not a recording. It was live. Don't talk, she whispered. He listens through sound. He tried to stand, but the chair wouldn't move. The headset cord had wrapped around his wrist somehow, tightening when he pulled. Where are you? He whispered. Here, she said. In the quiet. Then behind him a single word crackled through the speaker, a voice not hers. Listen. The lights flickered once, twice, then everything went dark. They found Tom the next morning slumped over the console, eyes wide open. His headset was still on. The clock read 2:17 a.m. After that, they shut down the entire dispatch floor for good. New staff were brought in. The old employees transferred or quit, each one citing burnout or stress-related trauma. Only one person refused to leave, Detective Harris, assigned to investigate the incident. He'd been the responding officer on Claire's last logged call, the one that never traced. He remembered the night too well, the quiet streets, the interference on his radio, and the way his patrol car's clock had frozen at 2:17, just before the static started. He wanted answers, closure, something rational. But all he found were fragments, corrupted files, impossible audio distortions, dispatch logs looping the same 5 seconds of breath. Then, one night, while reviewing the data, he noticed something strange. Every sound clip from that night, every faint whisper and breath, formed a pattern, a rhythm, a voice. When slowed down and isolated, the message became clear. Don't hang up. He played it again and again until the message began to change. The distortion grew sharper, the whispers overlapping, syncing with his own breathing until it was impossible to tell who was speaking. The sound equipment flickered. Then his office phone rang. He froze. No one called this line, ever. He picked it up. Static. Detective Harris, the voice said. Claire's voice. You should have listened sooner. He tried to speak, but the sound warped, his words coming back through the speaker an instant later, as if the line had become a mirror. Where are you? Right where you left me. The static rose, filling the room like pressure underwater. Harris slammed the phone down, but the line didn't disconnect. It kept ringing, and every ring came from a different corner of the room. Weeks later, the department filed its final report. Unexplained system malfunction. Personnel lost. They shut down the building permanently. No one noticed when a single light began flickering again on the abandoned dispatch board. 17 a.m., a new call. No number, no ID. The recording auto-started, as it always had. 1. What's your emergency? A pause, then a man's voice. Trembling, breathless. I can hear them talking through the walls. They say my name. Sir, where are you calling from? The station, the man whispered. The old one, but the doors won't open. The dispatcher froze. That was impossible. No one was inside that building. What's your name, sir? Silence, then Harris. They sent a team. Found the building sealed, no lights, no power, but the phones were ringing inside. Every line lit up at once, hundreds of red lights blinking in unison. The techs ripped out the cables, cut the main switchboard, destroyed the servers. It didn't matter. The sound kept coming, not from the speakers, from inside the walls. 6 months later, a new dispatch center opened on the other side of town, brand new equipment. Fresh staff, everything digital, clean, traceable. But the first night at 2:17 a.m., one of the trainees froze at her console. She turned to her supervisor. "There's someone on the line," she whispered. "But I didn't answer yet." The supervisor frowned. "Then how are you hearing?" the speaker hissed. And through the static came a voice, calm, polite, and familiar. "What's your emergency?" The trainee's screen flickered, just for a second. Caller ID unknown. Location null. The timestamp froze on 2:17 a.m. No one remembers exactly when the stories began circulating again. New responders claim to hear phantom calls, voices echoing from other consoles. Sometimes they'd swear they could hear a woman humming, faintly, just below the static. Every audio log since then has been checked, deleted, or lost. But one file remains, unnamed, unlabeled, hidden deep in the archives. Play it, and you'll hear nothing for the first few seconds. Just rain, then a single voice. "He's in the walls," followed by another. "He's in the line," then silence. And somewhere, deep within the faint hum, a final, almost inaudible whisper, "Your line's still open."